place for you at every table that I own. Gave you the warmest seat I had and called your emptiness my home. I laughed at every joke you told, even when they cut like glass. I stayed when you were at your worst and prayed that it would pass. I brought you water in the drought, I held you through the night. I was the one who stayed the longest when everyone else took flight. But the desert never lies to me the way you always did. I saw your real face in the sand, in every prayer you hid. You smiled so wide when I was winning, but Lord, you smiled wider when I fell. You were the first to hear my secrets and the first one left to tell. You held my hand in every photo, you cried beside me at my low. But when the walls came down around me, you were the first one out the door. I heard your words behind my back like desert wind through hollow bones. I felt the knife go in so gently, the kind of cold that only traitors own. You wore the mask so long, so perfect, I almost thought that it was skin. But even roses in the desert can't hide the thorns that grow within. And I sat in the silence of the desert with the weight of what you'd done. And the sand said, not every hand that holds you is a hand that wished you won. Fake friends never again. The desert taught me how to choose. I'd rather walk these miles alone than walk beside someone like you. Fake friends never again. I learned it the hardest way. The ones who smiled right to my face were the ones who prayed I'd break. I cut without hate, I cut without a word. I cut the way the desert cuts the wind, clean and cold and sure. Fake friends never again, never again. I used to shrink myself to fit inside the space you gave to me. I used to ask if I was too much, now I know you were too little. See, the grief I carried wasn't for you, it was for the girl who believed, who thought that loyalty was simple, who never thought she'd be deceived. She laid flowers on a grave that didn't even have a name. She mourned a friendship that was hollow, a beautiful constructed frame. But even ashes feed the desert, even pain can grow you tall. The woman who walks out of betrayal is stronger than the one before the fall. I don't need you at my table, I don't need your borrowed light. I've learned to dine alone in silence, and God, it tastes so right. No more reading in between the lines, no more waiting for the blade, no more giving gold to fingers that were only made to take. The desert showed me who was with me when there was nothing left to gain. Turned out the only one still standing was the woman in the rain. And she looked so damn familiar. She was me, she was always me, the one I should have chosen first, the one I finally set free. So I stood up in the desert and I let the dry wind take your name. Watched it scatter into nothing, and I felt no loss, no grief, no shame. Just the quiet of a woman who finally chose herself. Fake friends never again. The desert taught me how to choose. And I'd do it all again, every single painful day, because losing you was just the desert clearing dead weight from my way. Fake friends